Hello, welcome to our channel KCYC. Today we will learn the poem All the World's a Stage, written by England's national poet William Shakespeare. Now about the poet. This poem All the World's a Stage is written by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born on 26th April 1564 in UK. He is regarded as the greatest dramatist of all time. An Englishman, Shakespeare was also a poet and an actor. His works such as Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, Merchant of Venice hold a significant place in the world's literature and occupy a major part of literary academics. He is referred to as England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. Shakespeare is one author whose works have been translated into every major language of the world, and his plays are performed more than that of any other playwright living or dead. Shakespeare remains the only writer whose every line has been profoundly studied and interpreted by historians, scholars as well as students. The evergreen work of William Shakespeare have truly left a deep and everlasting effect on world's literature, theatre as well as cinema. We will read the poem together. All the World's a Stage by William Shakespeare. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in time plays many parts, his act being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow, then a soldier full of strength, oaths, and bearded like the part, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice in fair round belly, with good cap on, lined with eye severe and bird of formal cut, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history, its second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. All the World's a Stage, a poem written by William Shakespeare, actually was not a poem earlier, but it was a monologue from the play As You Like It. This monologue is said by Melancholy Jux in Act 2, Scene 7 of As You Like It. As the speech begins, 7 different stages of man's life are all that can come into our mind. Each and every word is so beautifully written that you can actually imagine everything that is written, just like a movie running in front of your eyes. The 7 stages of man's life also refer to the 7 ages of man. These ages are infant, school-going boy, a lover, soldier, justice, to ability to understand the right and wrong, and a pantaloon and an old age. In this poem, Shakespeare has compared life with a stage. He has used different words to beautify the poem in a wonderful way. He has taken his concept from medieval philosophy, which showed glimpses of several different groups as the 7 deadly sins for theological reasons. Theology is the study of God's nature as well as religious belief. Let us now go to the explanation part of the poem, All the World's a Stage. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his act being 7 ages. In this poem, the poet William Shakespeare tells that all the men and women are mere characters in the drama which is played on the stage, that is, in the world. They have their exits and their entrances, which means that all the people take birth and then die after a certain period of time. The deaths and the birth are pre-decided, and each man merely takes on different roles during his lifetime. When he goes through these ages, he has to play different roles. These roles depict a man as a son, his responsibilities as a brother, father, husband, fighter for the nation, etc. The man begins his act on the stage as an infant. Children, you will notice that this poem is entirely metaphorical. See the first line of the poem, All the World's a Stage. This is the best example of metaphor. Here, the poet has implicitly compared the world to the stage of theatre. So mark it, all the world's a stage, metaphor. And all the men and women are merely players. This is again an example of metaphor. The poet here indirectly has compared men and women to players of the play. This is an example of alliteration too, because the words men and merely begin with the sound M. Sound M is repeated here for the poetic effect, and therefore the figure of speech is alliteration. They have their exits and their entrances. Again, metaphor. The poet indirectly has compared life and death to the entrance and exits of the players. Again, if you will see, it's an example of alliteration too, as sound M is repeated. Okay, so in these 5 lines, the first line is metaphor, second 2 is metaphor, and the third one is also metaphor. The man's life begins with infancy. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arm. The man begins his act on the stage as an infant. He pukes in the arms of his nurse, and he cries to be in the comfort of his mother. Naturally and expectedly, the first age of man's life is infancy. As a baby, man acquires no accomplishment. In fact, he does nothing more than crying and vomiting in the arms of nurses. Here, puking means vomiting, and mewling means crying weakly with soft, high-pitched sound. The figure of speech here is onomatopoeia, as the sound effect is given by the words mewling and puking. Children, look at this picture. Aren't you familiar with this picture? Yes, It is the picture of a school-going boy. The second stage, as described, is the school-going boy, which you are at present experiencing. The second act begins when the man turns into a school-going boy who is unwilling to go to school and unwilling to take the responsibility of being a student. After infancy, everyone passes into the stage of a whining school boy. Whine here means high-pitched complaining sound. You always complain why there is school, why we have to wake up early. So you lazily walk towards school. Pessimistically, the speaker paints a dire picture of this stage of life. The lousy little schoolboy bobs off to school against his will. This is the second stage. The boy creeps toward the school like a snail, no doubt, hitting every step, wishing he were going somewhere else. Whine here means high-pitched complaining sound, as said. Satchel means a school bag. Creep, to move slowly in. And this is the most familiar figure of speech. Which is the figure of speech used here? Simile. The boy creeps toward the school like a snail. That is, the school-going boy is directly compared to the snail creeping. The next lines are, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad, made to his mistress eyebrow. The third stage brings before us the lover who sings woeful ballad for his beloved. In the youthful age, when the man is full of energy and might, he may do everything to please his beloved. His lover is the only person he sees dancing in front of his eyes when nothing else. For him, there is absolutely no other place that can confront him than the eyebrows of his lover. But even this shift of life, filled with merry making and joyous song, passes so quickly as well. The fourth stage of all the world's a stage portrays the man as a soldier. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and worded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. The soldier fights for the nation. He has a bird, a tiger or leopard, and is fierce like them, depicts all those strange oaths that he takes to protect his country and all the men and women living in it. Being young and warm-blooded, he quarrels, but he also maintains his dignity to create and develop his reputation in front of others around him. This is perhaps the stage in his life which is the toughest one. At this stage, the man becomes full of himself as he goes in search of a reputation, even though it may be one that bursts as easily as bubble. He is least bothered of the dangers. Soldier, the fourth stage, arrives swiftly. Here, man seeks fame, though it is temporary and short-lived. He endangers his life for it, but it is nothing more than a bubble. Then comes the fifth act, where he turns into justice, the one who knows what is good and what is right. At this stage, he is perhaps the best person to approach to find out who is correct and who is wrong. By the fifth age, the man is accumulating body flesh as he undergoes the unpleasant increase, often called middle age spread. The unlucky chap sports a fair round belly. The man's eyes have become severe. He wears his beard trimmed short, which contrasts with the soldier's scuff of a beard. Fifth rule is of a middle-aged man. He has round belly. He cites modern instances. This fifth stage is described in the lines, "And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part." The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacle on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved a world too wide, for he shrank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble pipes and whistles in his sound. As chronological age has moved the man forward, he lands on the stage where he has difficulty even maintaining his earlier activities. He no longer fits into his clothes because he has become thin, losing that round belly. When the adult shifts to his sixth age, he becomes slimmer and wiser with his spectacle on his nose. He represents the aging of man. The man at this advanced stage sports glasses to assist his falling vision. With his shrinking body, even his voice is undergoing a transformation from its manly huskiness to that of a child's dish whine, reminiscent of schoolboy. In the sixth age, man becomes very weak. He keeps pouch with him. He wears warm hoses. His voice is not clear due to loss of teeth. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Alas, the last stage comes from him to go through oblivion. No matter how hard he tries to remember things, he is just not able to. When he enters old age, he turns into a child again. Slowly, the man begins losing his teeth, his vision, the taste in his mouth, and the love or greed for everything that he once wanted in his life. This is the last stage and the strange stage of man's life. He is childish as well as childlike. He forgets everything. This is the last stage in which he completes the drama of his life and leaves the stage of the world for the next. He has lost all his relations. At this stage, the man feels that life is nothing except sheer loss for man, though he may boast of the success and achievements he has got into his past life. Shakespeare wishes to make us realize that the short life we spend in this world is not worth it if we have a close observation of it. Life is nothing more than a shadow. So spend it bravely and eagerly. Be not a passer-by. The poet William Shakespeare has literally given the word picture of all the 7 stages in the life of a man in the poem All the World's a Stage. Life is a drama, the world is a stage, and we human beings are actors. The theme hints at the greatest irony in the lives of human beings. Shakespeare over here has masterfully described the stages of human life. The use of imagery and acting and stage is recurrent one in Shakespeare.